This simple thing I just did before unracking the bar is one of the techniques that allow me to lift heavy on the bench press. Recently, I managed to hit a PR of 407 pounds or 185 kilos at a body weight of 154 pounds or 70 kilos. And as you can see, just before unracking the bar, this single technique allowed me to optimize my position, and it's going to be the topic of today's video. So if you want to improve your bench technique and strength in under 6 minutes, then this video is for you. How you're going to position yourself on the bench will have a big impact on what kind of technique you're able to produce, and those two elements will be key in order to produce strength, meaning in order to lift more weight on the bench. I know that sometimes when you're trying to improve your technique, when you're a beginner in the gym, when you're just learning about the squat, the bench, or the deadlift, it's pretty hard to understand what your body should do. And one of the key aspects that beginners don't do properly on the bench press is the shoulder position. So it's pretty straightforward in reality to know that you should position your shoulders back and down, but it's something to just do it standing straight, and it's much more complicated to do it on the bench. And that was actually a problem that I had for years and years that prevented me from achieving a good position and achieving good weights on the bench. So that's why over the years I developed a position, I developed a technique that I use on every single one of my sets when I'm benching right now, and it helped me tremendously. So what we're going to see right now is this exact technique. So we're onto the bench, and right now I don't want you to focus on the shoulders because, again, when you're a beginner, and that was a problem that I had, I didn't really understand how to position directly my shoulders. So the aspect on which we're going to focus on is actually the back of your neck. So when you're setting yourself up on the bench, instead of just thinking about the shoulders, you actually want to think about how you're positioning your neck, and I'm going to explain you why right now. When I'm thinking about my neck, I really want to think that I'm spreading my neck onto the bench. And by doing so, I'm able to position my shoulders exactly where I want them to be. Here, I'm not just thinking about my shoulders, I'm thinking about really spreading and crushing my neck onto the bench. And here, as you can see, I was able to accomplish two things. First, my shoulder positioning is really good. And second, I'm able to have a very good open chest position. So just by focusing on the back of your neck, how you're going to position it on the bench, you will create this great position without having to think of anything else. So I just showed you the position that I do when I'm setting up, but there's actually another element that I use, and I'd say it's probably as important, if not more important, than the actual setup. So I'm setting up myself, like I said, really spreading my neck, allowing my shoulders to get into this nice shoulders back and down position, and then just before I unrack the bar, I'll actually hammer this position in, and I'll just show you how it looks like. Spreading the neck. I'm really good now. So before I unrack the bar, I'll actually slightly lift my head up, and I'll really re-crush my neck and my head into the bench. And by doing so, I just improved even more my positioning. And now, as you can see, I don't have any efforts to do because my shoulders are really well set and my chest is well involved into the movement. So if I were to summarize all of that, remember, you want to start your setup by sliding on the bench, really spreading your neck, like almost making your neck a bit taller, a bit longer. In order to emphasize that, imagine you want your shoulders to get closer to your hips as you're spreading your neck during your setup. Once you're there, you have very good shoulder positioning into the bench, and just before you unrack the bar, you slightly lift the head up, and then immediately you'll re-spread your neck by almost crushing your head into the bench. And by doing so, you're ensuring that the position is good during the setup, and more importantly, you're ensuring the position is good just at the moment you're unracking the bar. Because again, it's pretty easy to have a good setup, but it's also easy to have it fall apart when unracking the bar with improper unrack or during the bench press. And with this thing where you reset this position just before unracking the bar, you're making sure this position stay consistent during your bench press sessions. So that was it for this position, this technique that I use. And really, I'm using this on every single one of my bench press sessions, sets, reps, whatever. When I just recently PR'd my bench press, I did that just before unracking the bar. And to me, it's really that important. So if you're struggling with proper positioning on the bench, I'm sure that this cue will help you out tremendously. So that was it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned a couple of things. If that's the case, one of the best ways to let me know, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. I'm reading almost all of your comments, and it's always a pleasure when I'm reading that some of the techniques or the cues that I'm giving to you guys are helpful. So make sure you leave a comment if you enjoy this type of content. And I catch you guys in the next one.